Nigerians are dying on a daily basis. They're losing their lives on a daily basis. Yet, our president's top priority seems to be his re-election. He's busy campaigning for his 2027 election while people are being kidnapped on a daily basis. People are being killed on a daily basis. Families are being displaced on a daily basis. Are we still living in a country? Is this a country? Do we even still have a president? To be honest.
You know, I often say this, that the first 4 years of anybody who is in office, especially if you're elected, is just basically for you to plan, for you to be re-elected the next 4 years. And then when you're re-elected for the next 4 years, it's also for you to plan on life after you've left office. And then the big question is, where exactly is real governance? Where exactly do you sit back to actually attend to the issues you're meant to attend to as a president, as a governor, as a local government chairman, as a councillor? They all have different responsibilities, and one of the core responsibilities of the president is ensuring that lives and security of people are protected. But in this part of the country, what we hear are statements, explanation upon explanation, press briefing, and just basically making excuses. But anyway, this is a briefing room. This is where we have conversations way beyond the headline. My name is Esther Umelo,
and I am Kelvin Raphael. Welcome to the briefing room. Insecurity is no longer news in this country. Before, it used to be news. Someone was kidnapped, someone was killed. It used to be news. But it is now a daily occurrence. It's now like part of our daily lives. It's like gist these days. It's like gossip, no longer news.
It's sad when you say insecurity is no longer news. And it's really sad because that is the current reality of we as Nigerians. The fact that we wake up and we hear in the news that 10 persons were killed, 20 persons were killed, and we move on.
It's like gossip, like when you wake up and you say, a celebrity got into a fight. That is what this has turned into these days. It's like, someone was killed in Borno State, 16 people were kidnapped. It's like, that's gist. What's the gist for the day? Now, let's go back to the genesis. Yeah. So, Boko Haram started in 2002. It was founded by Mohammed Yusuf, and they started off as a religious radical group. And in 2009, they became a terrorist group. The insurgency started after their clash with Nigerian military forces. They also lost their leader, Mohammed Yusuf, during the clash. And in 2015, they signed an allegiance with the Islamic State and adopted the name ISWAP, which is the Islamic State West Africa province. And subsequently, they had a faction. So currently, we have Boko Haram and we have ISWAP.
Yeah.
These people have been operating for decades. And you would think that for a terrorist organization that has been operating in a country for decades, our military should have been fit to fight these organizations, to fight these terrorists. But what we're hearing now are discussions of training for our military personnel. They're not new. They're not just starting out. They've been here for decades. So are you telling me that you've not been doing training all this while? The U.S. deployed some troops early this year, 100 troops, to support Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts, and they're meant to train our military personnel and provide us with intelligence. Just a few days ago, the Minister of Defense, General Gabin Musa, talked about sending 200 military personnel to Turkey for training. Why are we discussing training at this stage?
Okay, so it's interesting that you took it way back, and I would just, basically agree with what you've said about the fact that the issue of insecurity didn't start today. But that is not an excuse for its continuity. We saw it during Jonathan's time, we saw it during Buhari's time, and then we also saw it during, now that we have President Tinubu, who is in office. like I said at the opening, that the key responsibility of anybody who is in position of power is a protection of life and property. But what we've seen over the years are just people who get into office and they make excuses upon excuses. I do not see, and I'm sorry, I do not see this administration dealing ruthlessly with insecurity. What I'm seeing are just basically giving excuses, just basically reading speeches and commiserating, or just releasing speeches, but people are dying on a daily basis. I'll take a look at the statistics by Amnesty International that estimates that over 10,000 people have been killed by armed groups in the first 2 years of Tinubu's presidency. And the painful thing is that we run a democratic system of government, which means you have to be elected. For you to be elected, you have to convince the people that you can do something. And I was one person who followed through with the president's campaign, and that was how we got the phrase Umelo, it's my turn. But it's really sad. It's really, really sad that how many years down the line, right? This is his third year. By 2027, he'll be he's already campaigning. He's contesting again, and then we've had increase in insurgency, increase in insecurity. This is someone that is meant to protect the people. When I said that the first 4 years is basically for you to plan how you would get re-elected, and the next 4 years it's basically for you to plan how you would get out of office. We haven't really been favored by leaders, or favored with leaders who genuinely want the city or want Nigeria as a country to progress. What we have are people who pay lip service, people who are struggling just to ensure that they stay in office, they maintain that position. It takes me back to the statement that Fabio made, what is it called, that insecurity is increasing because election is in the next couple of months. By the time we're done with election, it would reduce, or insecurity would stop. I think that is a slap to Nigerians. I think it's him calling Nigerians dumb. The fact that he would make such a statement that insecurity would come down, or there would be calm the moment we're done with election. This is something that has been on for years. But let's take away the fact that it's been on for years, because again, they would say this is not something that started with this administration. But we have no excuse. Yeah. If you campaigned and you said you were going to fix it, what is happening? And this is why I even have a problem. Oftentimes, I'm sorry, for the 2027 election, I haven't seen any candidates yet, and I'm sorry. Yes, I haven't. I haven't seen any candidates yet. Come and tell me what you will do, not just what you will do. Give us step by step how you will do it. It is easier said than done when people come out and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Peter Obi contested in 2023 under Labour Party. What has he done? Even as one who isn't in position of power at this point in time, what are the solutions that he has profiled in such a way that by the time we apply it, it will help to deal with insecurity? I am not one with I will deal with insecurity, I would ensure that this one happens. Please tell us how you would get it done. That is what we want to hear. How exactly are we going to get it done? Insecurity is killing, like, it is bad, it is painful. I was telling you about an experience that I had of how every time I wake up and I listen to the news, it's 10 persons being killed. In fact, imagine the story that happened with Binyam, the kidnapping that happened recently. Imagine the 200 individuals that were killed as a result of a mistake that was made by the Nigerian military. That is painful.
The airstrike.
The airstrike that happened.
The defense. Oh, okay, the one that happened in Yobe.
Yes.
All right, now regarding the one that happened in Jiri Market, the Minister of Defense, General Christopher Gabwin Musa, he actually clarified that there were no innocent people in the market. Hold on. According to him, the market had been banned for years, and the governor of Borno State, Professor Babangana Zulum, he also confirms that the market was indeed banned 5 years ago. Okay. Now, the Minister of Defense said that even though they had warned villagers not to go to the market anymore because it's a trade zone for terrorists, the villagers have refused to listen because they make much more profit in the market. So they take items to the market and they sell it at a higher rate. For example, now they could take a bag of rice to the market and sell it for 150k in the market. So they sell it like double or triple the price. So it's good business for them, right?
That
now,
justification.
it is not a justification. It's not a justification. I know there's a human part. The truth is, humans will always be humans, but what measures were put in place? If you say the market was banned, did you close it off? Were there barriers, barricades, maybe fence it out? Were there roadblocks, military checkpoints to ensure that the villagers aren't going to the market? Because the reason why they kept going was because there was no measure put in place to prevent them from going to the market. I know that does not justify the killing, but then again, we as humans, we have our own collective responsibility. You have been informed that this is a trade zone for terrorists. The people you are doing business with are the people who are killing us, are the people who are killing your people. So why are you still going there? I'm not justifying the killing. I'm just saying that we also have our responsibilities as citizens. That's what I'm saying.
So there is a survey that is between May 2023 and April 2024 that says that 2.2 million plus kidnapping we've had 2.2 million plus kidnapping victims in Nigeria. And then we have 614,937 deaths linked to insecurity. Now it's not reducing; it is increasing. I told you something, Kelvin.
2022, right? His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu called for the then president, His Excellency Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's resignation over his failure to tackle insecurity at the time. Now the same thing is happening under his regime, and he's not doing anything about it.
And nobody's calling for him or protesting for him to
Our lives do not matter to him. His re-election in 2027 is a top priority. That is what's more important to him than the life of the people who he has been, the life of his own citizens, the life of his citizens, his subjects.
So I am a strong believer that the insecurity we have in Nigeria has become a business.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a business venture.
I mean,
now. The ransom that has been paid. You know, we talk about, we're dealing with it. I think, and this is not me wishing anybody bad, but kidnap me, perhaps the president's son. Yes. And tell me if they would not get the person. Kidnap a top politician's child. And tell me if they would not handle it immediately. There would be no rest. I'm saying that by trivializing people.
That's true.
Yes,
that's true. And come to think of it, why do they not target these people's children? So politicians' children, government officials.
Of course, they move around the security. So
okay, all right. So are they scared of the security?
So the truth is. The truth is, these bandits, terrorists, you know, whatever you call them, they always have their targets and they always have their plan. And the truth is, it has now become a business venture where if they're able to kidnap hundreds of people, if they're able to kidnap 20 people, and these 20 people can raise 10 million, 20 million, they're good with it. Instead of, wanting to attack, where would you even find the son of the president to kidnap him in the first place? Or the son or the daughter of the vice president? This is not me wishing anybody bad. But I'm just saying that if genuinely we are working, as we are claiming that, we're working to ensure that we end insecurity in Nigeria, the truth is, the energy we're putting in, if something should get close, if this threat or this issue should get close to a family member of those in position of power,
that's true though,
this will not be the case.
And we will not be having conversations of rehabilitation. You see, this whole conversation of rehabilitation, it drives me nuts. Every time I hear it, I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean a separate rehab for terrorists? And let me bust your bubbles. During the recent Armed Forces inaugural lecture, the Chief of Defense, General Olufemi Oluyede, he said that, regarding the questions of the rehab, we're asking that why are they taking terrorists to rehab? They shouldn't be taken to rehab. They have killed people, so they should be killed. Do you know what he said? He said, it probably makes sense. it probably makes sense that people who have killed, who have murdered thousands of people, should also be murdered. They should also be killed. It probably makes sense. What is the death penalty for death?
We'll go on a short break, and when we return, we'll continue this conversation. It is still the briefing room right here.
Every brand has a story, but not every story is told the right way, and that's where Kavita comes in.
And I want to give a special shout out to Kavita Live.
Yeah, Kavita, we don't just shoot, we craft, create, and turn your vision into powerful stop-scrolling brand stories. Because visuals aren't meant to just look good, they are meant to capture attention, spark emotions, and drive actions. Kavita, structure for creatives.
Welcome back to the show. You can join the conversation by following us on social media. You can also leave your comments in our comment section, and we'll be going through it. So, a whole chief of defense staff, General Olufemi Oluyede, says that it probably makes sense that terrorists who have killed, murdered thousands of people should be killed. Burst my brain. What do you mean it probably makes sense? And he didn't stop there. He said, look at the Bible, the prodigal son. I don't know, is there any part of the Bible, because maybe I'm reading the wrong Bible, is there any part of the Bible that says that the prodigal son went out to kill thousands of people and came back and his father forgave him?
So the explanation he gave when he was making the statement was the fact that some of them are being cajoled, they are being forced.
How do you know the ones that are being cajoled?
They are being forced
to come and say, I was forced, They
were being forced to do what they did. But I would say this, that regardless of the fact, or regardless of the whole conversation around them being cajoled or forced to do what they did, a crime has been committed.
Yeah.
You cannot tell me that this is an individual who has killed somebody or killed people, and you're talking about getting them back, integrating them back into the society without them getting tried. I think that's a very painful thing. And I think that's a fact. I think it's painful because it's like we're trivializing the human life. This is a single individuals who have taken lives of thousands of people, and then you give your explanation for them is they were cajoled to do so. If you give me a gun, Kelvin, and tell me to shoot somebody, you have to shoot me because I can't shoot anybody. It's
okay, can you shoot a chicken?
I've done that once. Anyway, we have a couple of tweets here, and we'll take a look at it right here on the briefing room. Tommy nailed it rather. Says, this is the only means of transportation for the common man. Are we supposed not to travel anymore? The governments are watching this and do not feel any iota of shame. I weep for this country.
And then we have a tweet from Yusuf Omoali, and he said, this is terrible. Benin-Lagos Expressway is relatively the safest highway in Nigeria. Security should focus on this area before these animals get out of hand. These kidnappers might not necessarily be bandits from the north, but gunmen from southern trying to establish their evil act. So he's speaking regarding the recent attack, recent kidnap along the Benin-Ore highway. The passengers were about, how many passengers again? 16 passengers, and the driver was shot
as well.
It was
really sad. I have those tweets right here, and this is from Bolaji. Bolaji says, most of these people making commentary lack simple knowledge of calling 112 to report the incident or go to npf.gov.ng to escalate it. Security agencies cannot be everywhere. You have to inform them of the emergency issues. Let us learn to have necessary contact. Kelvin, I feel like I want to try the 112 he just talked about, because
we tried it some time ago and it didn't go through.
We have another comment here, and this is from Mohammed, that says the growing insecurity and attack in northern Nigeria in recent months is a threat to our collective peace and unity. This cannot be ignored. A full investigation must be conducted, and everyone involved, both perpetrators and sponsors, must face justice. Anyone fueling this violence is an enemy of the people and of Nigeria. We must stand together and reject it. Now, I saw a video recently, just a couple of hours before we had the show. I saw a video of a terrorist that was caught, and he was tied to the tree, just basically, he was being punished. And then he said that his Oga is in Abuja. He's a top military officer.
Personnel. It makes sense why we would lose 2 brigadier generals and a major within 5 months. It makes sense. Do you know what it takes for you to be able to murder a brigadier general? For his location to be compromised.
There's someone in there. They have a mole.
Okay, all right. So in November, early November, we lost a brigadier general. In November 2025, we lost Brigadier General Musa Oba, and then early this 2026, which is March, we lost Major Ibrahim Omar Mariga, and recently this month we lost Brigadier General Oseni Omo Brahima. Do you know how long it takes to produce one general?
Yeah.
It takes between 30 to 35 years. Currently, we're not in active war with any country. Do you know who a brigadier general is in the military? This is a top official. We're not in a war with any country at the moment, and we're losing our top military officials. The truth is, we're currently at war with a terrorist, and the question is whether or not we're going to fight back.
I think we should declare a state of emergency when you talk about insecurity in Nigeria. But most importantly, I think we've paid a lot of lip service to the issues that have happened. The president needs to do better. Recently, the Minister for Finance was changed. We now have Taiwo Oyedele. Yeah. There's been reshuffling of ministers. This is not the first time it would be happening, right? But I think the president should take up security a little bit more, not a little bit more seriously. He should pay attention to it, because under his leadership there's been rise and kidnapping, terrorism attack, and he's already contesting for 2027. On what basis exactly? What is the scorecard within which he's using to contest? And I'm not going to be surprised if he wins 2027 election, because it is what it is, right? But at the expense of what exactly? At the expense of human lives? I do not think anyone. You know what we do when we lose one life? You cut off somebody's relative, a brother, a sister. Not just that, you kill the dream, the aspiration of people. Now, currently we have the xenophobic attack that is happening. It's increasing in South Africa. There was a particular video of a lady that was telling a Ghanaian that she's tired of having migrants, that Africans should go back to their country and fix their country. You know what that means? A lot of persons who have left Nigeria are leaving not because they genuinely want to leave. They are leaving because they are tired, and that is why we have brain drain in the health sector. That is why we have people who would live in Nigeria but leave Nigeria to other countries, and they are performing well. That is to tell you how we're losing our good hands. Insecurity, we talk about insecurity and isolation, but when you look at it holistically, it's affecting every sector, because people are leaving not just because they want to leave, but they're leaving because they do not feel safe in their own country.
And the insecurity, it just keeps increasing. It just keeps getting worse. We started the year on a bloody note. In February, we started off with mass killings in Kwara State. It has been consistent. And we're asking, what exactly is the Nigerian government doing to curb insecurity in the country?
They're releasing statements.
But what are we going to do with this? You're telling us, we assure you that everything's going to be fine. We're on top of it. What are you doing? You're on top of it.
Remember the Plateau killing that happened, right? And then the president visited them and said he had just 10 minutes to spend with them. And after that killing, another attack happened.
No,
and by the way,
he had just 10 minutes to spend with them.
There was no electricity.
Because there was.
And yes, and then he also told them that it would not happen again. But guess what? There was another attack, and there's been other attacks across different parts of the north.
And just a few days ago, about 16 students who were traveling for the UTME exam were they were kidnapped. But gratefully, they have been released. But it's not just about these people being released. The trauma. Will they ever get over it? You see, this insecurity, it is draining. It is, at this point, right, honestly, the president has no business campaigning for 2027. His focus should be on securing the life of its citizens. And you know, that should be his focus, not his re-election.
And you know, if you're able to do things well, you don't necessarily need to campaign to be re-elected. Honestly, you don't need to be. People would genuinely campaign for you. They would genuinely love you and genuinely want you to be there. I was in Rwanda in 2023, if I'm not mistaken, and I felt like I was in a different part of the world. It didn't feel like I was in Africa. Yes, they had their issues, but I felt safe. I felt like the place was really clean. I felt like these people were coordinated. And one would say that you cannot compare Nigeria to Rwanda, especially with the population. We are over 200 million people. Now, here's the thing. Before we got to 200 million, what were the plans or what were the strategies or whatever arrangement that was put in place? Now, we have a growing population. Nigeria is a country where the highest, African is the highest African country. African country, right?
Yeah, in terms of population.
And in terms of population, and we're increasing. The truth is there is no plan that is being made right now. In terms of projection, what about when we get to 250? That's if we're not up to 250 already. What about when we get to 300? There is no plan for the future. And you know what? We keep deceiving ourselves as leaders. I was coming to work today and I saw is it a caravan? It is for emergency. It's already been taken up by just people that sleep on the road, hawkers. Yeah. And the reason I felt really pained was because I'm very sure that when that's the caravan and what have you, that idea was launched, they spent money making events, having events, they spent money, releasing press statements, they spent money doing different things. We have a very poor maintenance culture in Nigeria. It's the same thing that they've done today, that this current administration is doing. Don't be shocked, another administration will come into power and they're doing the exact same thing. So like we're spending the money to do, because we're not genuine, we're not honest with ourselves. The number of people that are waiting on the line or on the queue to get into power to meet money, even more than the people in position of authority, it is a fundamental and foundational issue that we need to deal with. Yes, we're talking about insecurity, but like I said, insecurity is just a part of it. We also need to be honest with ourselves. I've seen video of people who, of a child that was caught. Apparently, the child has been assisting the terrorists.
Wow.
Yes, I saw a video that was released on social media. How do they get information? How exactly do they get information?
The U.S. intelligence. What is he? Who is using it? Is somebody leaking the intelligence? And then again, you see, I'm going to go back to this whole rehab thing. Terrorists do not deserve rehab. The rehab is the prison. If they want to repent, they should repent in hell, because the truth is, I know they're not going to heaven. They can repent in hellfire. Not right here on earth, not in a separate rehab. Prison is rehab. That is what the prison is meant for. They should go there. They give them counseling there. They should serve punishment. They should try. They have murdered people. We cannot forgive them. Their forgiveness is in hellfire, not right here on earth. Because what you're doing, you're encouraging more people to come in. I can just join the organization, the ransom money pays good, so we're making a lot of money, and when you capture me, I'll just tell you, I'm sorry, I was cajoled, I'm not going to do this anymore, and then you say, okay, we rehabilitate them, reintegrate them into the society.
I said this when we started. We talk about insecurity, and it's always in numbers and in the news. Kidnap a top officials, a government, a politician's son or daughter or relative, and then tell me if they will not tackle it immediately. Let's stop paying lip service. The people that die on a daily basis, these are people with flesh and blood burning underneath their skin. We cannot continue like this, and we don't have a reason. We're doing ourselves huge disservice. You're cutting short people's dream, aspiration, life. It's painful, really painful. And I do hope that the president would do something.
And now let's talk about the possible solutions. One is to cut off the supply. They're getting ammunition, they're getting drones, they're getting mobiles. Cut off all the supply chains. Another thing is that we need better intelligence. These are solutions that we should explore. And if we cannot combat insecurity by ourselves, let us get help. This is not the time for training. You're not going to be going for training when you're in active war. It is time to actually fight. All right, thank you so much. That will be all on the briefing room. Join us next time. I'm Kelvin Raphael, signing off.
And I'm Esther Umelo. Thanks for watching. Bye.